Hello and welcome. Today's account comes from the Derbyshire area, just beside the River Dove, and it's the bipedal creature from 2006. This witness found me on Facebook, as many people do. You can find me under Deborah Hatswell, or find the team group, British Bigfoot Research Team, or Report a Bigfoot Sighting in the UK. You can find me on any of those pages. So here's the sighting. Somewhere between the years of 2006 and 2008, I was returning from Dovedale in Derbyshire along the fields at the side of the River Dove. It was broad daylight, I had no binoculars on me, and I was just walking along. About a field away, on the other side of a 5 to 6 foot hedge, I saw an unmistakably large greyish creature. I don't really know what to call it. It was approximately 8 to 9 feet tall, and I could only see half of it visible above the hedge, which led me to believe that it was bipedal, walking on two legs, and walking upright. It walked along the other side of the hedge and disappeared where the hedge ended. At the time, I tried to think of a logical explanation on what it could be, and the only thing I could come up with was one cow on top of another cow on the other side of the hedge. This is an impossible feat and would give it extra height and width, and that was the only way I could think that I'd seen something that big and that wide. I decided I was confused and I'd better go have a look. However, when I reached the location, there was no cows in the field, and there was no sign of whatever the figure or the creature was. I did return to the site a year or two ago, and I discovered that the hedge has a ditch that runs through the middle of it and off to a stream, which the creature may have gone down into to disappear, and I wouldn't have been able to see it from where I was standing. I do believe that the creature came out of Kender Wood, which is privately owned by gamekeepers, but I would like to investigate the area further in the slim hope that whatever it was wasn't just passing through. I couldn't make out any more details of the beast other than the colour, which was greyish, and the size. He didn't actually say whether it was hairy or not. He never told me that, so I never flagged it as a British Bigfoot. I just put it under the creature category, which I'm going to have to come up with another name for, because that's really not the right name to call them, is it? So for now we'll say the figure. The figure that he saw was around 8 to 9 feet tall. It was grey in colour. He saw, I think he means from about mid-chest height on the other side of a hedge, which is very strange, I know. But less than a mile away from this account, there's another account at Dovedale from campers, and it says, we were camped in between Beresford and Dovedale, and on waking up in the morning, we packed up and we started to walk back, and about 100 yards from where we were camping, we found a fresh carcass of a sheep with its spine ripped out. We noticed it looked fresh, but we'd never heard a thing. Nothing in the night, nothing made us wake up, but it wasn't there the evening before. Now that is a very strange account. And like I say, they are actually within a mile of each other, both alongside the River Dove. Now the next sighting out from that is, I'd say about 5 miles away, and that area of Derbyshire is ringed by an incredible amount of sightings. But just those two small sightings there alongside the River Dove. I don't know what he saw. I can't answer for him. I wasn't there, was I? But it does bring up a couple of points that I'd like to talk about. Sometimes, if you can, going back to the area can make a hell of a difference. I know when it happened to me, in my head, what I saw was around 10 feet tall. It was this giant monster. When I actually went back, and it took a long time, it was when the Finding Bigfoot crew came to England a couple of years back, and I went out with one of the location scouts back to the area, and it was very bittersweet, I'll be honest. It was awful. There was rubbish strewn everywhere, and Old washing machines and everything had been pulled down. Oh, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. But going back to the site made me realise that it wasn't 10 feet. Fair, I'd added a couple of extra feet on to the figure that I saw. And it was probably around 7 to 7.5 feet tall. So it did put things a little bit more into perspective for me. One of the other things that helped was trying to work out, as this gentleman has, where you think it would have been coming from and going to. Most new researchers ask me for the area where a sighting has been, thinking that that creature would be there continuously on a 24-hour basis. Now, I don't think that that would work on a logistical basis. I personally think, this is just my personal opinion, that they would move over many miles over a very large territory. One, to not deplete the food sources. Two, to remain elusive. You're not going to want to be in the same area that you were seen exactly a year ago to that day, are you? So I always suggest that if you're going to go out and you're going to start researching, head for an area where there's been a sighting. Fantastic. But think logically. It's had to walk in and it's had to walk out. And it's probably done this at night. So you're looking for a green corridor, as I call them, a small area, little woods, probably a stream, like this gentleman mentioned, a stream that ran along a hedge. So from where he was stood, anything could have been walking up and down, he wouldn't have a clue. And I think that's why we think that it's so magical. But I just think it's common sense on their part. They go where we won't go because we're not there, are we? It wouldn't enter our heads that it would be a lot quicker if I just walked through extreme, would it? But I think somebody living wild or an animal, we'll use the word animal, an animal will take the path of less resistance, as they say, won't it? And I think our logical brains, we've only worked to go by roads. If there's not a B road or an A road that takes us there, well, we don't know how to get there anymore, do we? That's another one of our skills that we've lost. Now, these, when you look at the map, and some people just want to see one sighting, other people want to study it in depth, there are sighting routes and you can see them and they run along rivers, especially rivers that are connected to estuaries. And I think that's because of the food sources, and we have discussed that before, haven't we, with the food sources. I think there are enough food sources out there to sustain anybody. And especially if you know what you're looking for. We've lost our knowledge of the hedgerows and we've lost our knowledge of food from the woods and things that we can eat and medicines that we can take. And there are some amazing people out there that are relearning these skills and can pass them on to anybody that's interested in learning them. Catherine Chadwick would be very good with that. If you wanted to get in touch with Catherine, she's also on Facebook. And she's very good with spotting what's a bushcraft structure and what could possibly be bioarmor. So run your evidence by Catherine and let Catherine have a look. She's very blunt and she'll tell you straight, but she won't tell you a lie. And she knows a lot about being outside, and that's something we try and encourage the researchers to do. Not only get out and have a walk and have a look, try and identify some food sources yourself, try and learn some yourself, because if you're in an area where you find some, that could give you a clue on where you need to be basing your research. We can't all be running around the country, can we? I suggest finding a very small wood that has a waterway very close and studying that wood at different times of year, because it may not be a permanent place. It may be a place that they just move through. And to catch it at the right time in the right season, you would start to notice changes, and that's what you want to do. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. You want to concentrate on one small area and learn that area inside out. Then get online and look and see what the bushcrafters are doing. You know, see what structures they're making and leaving in those areas.